Oh shit. This, gotta take this. Light 1, check. 2, check. Close these back.
Alright guys, what's going on? So today we're going to Madison Blue Springs Park and I'm going to take you guys on how I edit my photos and what goes through my mind when I'm taking these photos. So my name is Nick Burnham. I am a full-time videographer / photographer from Tallahassee, Florida. If you don't know who I am, I highly suggest subscribing because I give out major tips, reviews, and also I create some pretty cool travel films that you might want to check out. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up as it helps me grow my channel and make more videos just like this one. So today we're going to use the GoPro Hero 7 Black, and with that, because I don't have a underwater housing for my Sony a6000, we're going to have to use this. So today I will be shooting in RAW just so I can get the most out of the photos that I take from this camera, and when I post-process it, it won't end up looking blurry or distorted or any type of way. So the water is pretty cold, which I'm not really worried about. It's just going to be something to overcome when I'm taking these photos. So today's gear list, we're going to have my Sony a6000 with a Sigma 16mm 1.4, a GoPro Hero 7 Black, and my DJI Spark. So all the gear that I'm using in this video, I will link down below so you guys can look at it, and if you guys are interested, you can end up purchasing it. I do recommend everything that I am using in this video, thus it has taken me this far in my photography journey. If you haven't seen my latest video, I just made a video on how I became full-time and how you can become full-time also with these simple tips. So go check it out if you are a beginner or even an intermediate, because these tips really helped me on my journey. Alright guys, we just got to the sinks. We got people in the background. Say hey guys. So it's great weather outside today, but there are a lot of people in it. So it's going to be a little bit tough to kind of get that solo picture with my girl Tracy in the background. So what we're going to try and do is wait for the perfect time to actually get it done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and edit it back at home. So I'll see you guys there.
You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Guys, what's up? We just finished all the pictures, all the drone shots, and all the underwater shots. Super tired. I felt like I was out of the breath the entire time, but we got some sick ones. So once I get back to my place, I'm going to show you guys all the photos, and we're going to go ahead and edit them and see how I edit them. Alright, what's going on guys? So we're back at the crib right now, and we are about to edit these photos. Alright, so I brought these into Lightroom. These are the photos that I thought came out the best, and I want to try and see what we can get out of them. So my favorite one is the one of my friend Tracy. Tracy is a friend of mine that works at Momentum Fitness. She helps me out with a lot of content. So shout out to her. Her link will be in the bio. So with this, we have a pretty well exposed photo. The shadows seem to be a little lighter than I'm gonna like. So I'm gonna dim those down just a tiny bit. Next, I'm gonna drop the exposure just one, so we can get a little bit of a darker photo just because it is underwater, and not too much light should be coming through, but just enough to see Tracy. Let's go ahead and drop some contrast on it so we can get those darker shadows. So with this, I don't want the shadows too dark. I do want to be able to see the bottom, just so we can kind of get that very glossy effect when we bring out the blues. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say 2 stops for the shadows. So I'm going to bring it to about, yeah, I'm liking 37. I think that's a good number for this. So with this, I'm not going to really change the highlights too much. Because I will do that when we do the S curve. I think we can get a better whiteness out of this if we just keep the highlights. Let's go up to 5, but I may drop it back down just because I do want a glossy effect, and if we have it too bright off the bat, we won't get that. It'll just be blown out. So we're going to do what's called an S-curve. It's where you just put the 3 dots on the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So with this, I'm going to drop the shadows down just a bit, just so we can kind of get that very, very dark feeling at the bottom. Like you guys see, that's a lot of grass. I forget what it's called, algae, I think. But yeah, we want to be able to see that, and it's very dark in real life. So we want to kind of keep that same thing and not be have it too clear. So with this, the way I want this photo to end up is I want it to be sort of like a dreamy photo, so I kind of have to show that in a very bright but dark way with the shadows and the highlights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the midtones up just a tiny bit, as you guys can see, like around the top, like around right here. You guys can see it just got a lot brighter. And a lot more, what is the word? A lot more dreamier. Yeah, I would say it got a lot more dreamier. So with this, like I said, the highlights aren't going to be too bright off the bat, just because we wanted to be able to do this without the highlights being blown out already. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up just a tiny bit. As you guys can see right there, look at the before and after. Like, that's a lot more, it looks like you're in heaven. So with that, I think that looks good. Maybe with the midtones I could bring it darker a little tiny bit more. I'm going to drag it to the right just a tiny bit to clear her up, and I might even drop the highlights down just a tiny bit on her, because to me that looks a little bit too bright. So we're going to go back up to the whites, and we're gonna dim those down maybe to about, yeah, I would say negative 15. Yeah, I'm gonna go, yeah, negative 15 looks good. So with this, I don't really need to change the vibrance or the saturation. I think we're good right now. We're gonna use the HSL color to go ahead and change how bright and how dark these colors are. All right, so with the HLS color, we're gonna go ahead and change some of the blues. I think this is a nice color, but I think I can make it a little bit better. With this, we see we have a bit of a greenish blue, and then it turns into this very bluish color, and then it goes back to like this green. So I kind of want to make it a little bit lighter so the transition isn't as harsh. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go into the saturation of the greens, and we're going to go ahead and dim that down. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and bid that down to about 42. Yeah, I think that looks good. So with the aqua, we're going to go ahead and dim that down just about to 10. So it's not too green, but there is still some green in there. Then we're going to go over to luminance. We're going to go ahead and bring that aqua up just a bit, so it's, as you can see, in that same area where the light is shining through. It looks like something out of a dream. And so with the blue, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. I don't think we're going to do it as harsh. No, actually, that actually looks really good. I think we're going to keep that. Maybe even go up a tiny bit more. So as you guys can see, like that one spot is just, I'm loving that thing. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna use that to our advantage. So with the greens, we're gonna go ahead and drop those down even darker with the luminance too. I think we're gonna go to about 45. I think that looks good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the split tone, and I'm gonna try and bring the colors out just a bit more without making it look too saturated. So with this, we're gonna go ahead and match the blue on the highlights. Yeah, I think 177 is good.
So we're gonna go ahead and bring that up. I think 6 looks about good. Anything more than that, I think it looks a little fake. So with this, we're gonna go ahead and meet those greens. We're gonna try and stay more on the blue side with it. I think 159 is good. Let's drop that down to about 2. Yeah, I think that looks good. Check the before and after. Quite a difference, as you can see in that highlight spot. We brought that out, and Tracy looks a bit more clear, but with a bit dramatic at the bottom, because I want to show that it is. So on this, I forgot to crop it for Instagram, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Instagram's rule for vertical photos are 4x5, so we're gonna do that at 4x5. So another trick I like to do is use the graduated filter. It's right here. If you go to this little taskbar, or click the M key, it'll bring up this filter that you can use to kind of bring out either highlights, shadows, raise the exposure, just do a lot of different edits. So what I like to use with this is I like to put it at the bottom of my photos and stretch it out just a bit, and then go ahead and drop it down so it creates this like cast of like the shadow from if it were behind the camera coming into frame. So I think that usually looks pretty cool. So I think that looks good. Creates, as you guys can see, the before and after. It brings out the shadows even more at the bottom of the photo, but I think I might even do a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to drop the exposure of that down just a bit more. We're going to go ahead and try 0.79, or negative 0.79. And I think that actually looks pretty good. As you guys can see, even more of the bottom shadow has come out, and it creates like this effect that it's like deeper than it actually is. And if you were to turn around, it would just be like this complete like drop off. So with this, I think we're getting near the end, but I think there's a couple more things that we can do, like add sharpening for sure. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go into the sharpening tab. What I like to do on the sharpening tab, I usually go no wider than 3x1, just because I really need to see what's going on in the photo when I'm sharpening it. So as you guys can see, the photo is pretty grainy right now. It doesn't really look that clear. It's not too clear. So we're gonna go ahead and try and fix that. Just throw the sharpening way up so we can kind of see what it's doing. And a little trick, if you guys press Alt before you click any of the radius, detail, or masking, it will show you what you're actually sharpening. So as you can see, if I throw the mask way up, it just completely zones in on actually what needs to be sharpening. And that really helps in to narrow down the sharpen. So with this, we're gonna throw it to about, I think 98 is pretty good. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop the detail down, way down to about 5. With the radius, we're gonna do kind of the same thing. We don't want too much of a radius on it, or else it would look like a cartoon. So we're gonna keep it around 0.7. The before and after, it's not too much sharper, but as you guys can see on this edge, it's a lot sharper. So with the mask, that really helps out. So because we don't really need like all of this focus, we just need the edge around her really focused. So that looks a little bit better, but I think what we're gonna go ahead and do is throw some noise reduction on it, just because you don't want the face, or I'm sorry, not the face, but the skin to be like all grainy, and it just looks terrible, and it just looks unprofessional. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and throw some noise reduction. We're gonna bump the luminance up to about, I think 25 looks good. And as you guys can see, that even just completely makes the photo look super glossy, and I really do love it. So we're gonna go ahead and try and see if we can dim that down a bit, just so we can kind of get a more natural look, but already it looks great. So with that, guys, I think that is done. I don't really know anything we could do to make it better. I think we're gonna go ahead and call that it. I think that's pretty good. Alright guys, so if you haven't checked out my latest video, I just dropped a video that teaches you guys what I feel is the major steps that help me become a full-time videographer and nail clients in the long run, but also the very, very short term. So if you haven't seen that, I highly suggest watching it. because that is what helped me out and continues to bring me clients and bring me success in this business. So thanks for watching, guys. I really want to thank you guys for watching. Leave a like down below if you really enjoyed this, and go follow me on Instagram if you really like these photos. I'm dropping content like this all the time, so if you don't want to miss a thing, hit that bell button to not miss a video, but also follow me on social media. But alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.